On today's show, we meet two women who are in their season of triumph.
He said to me, if that's your dream, go for it.
But it took some strong faith and greater grace to get them both where they are today.
He had prophesied to me prior to me even auditioning, you would be a household name.
Their stories will empower you and remind you that His grace is sufficient. Let's get ready to lift every voice.
Welcome, family. Yours truly, Derek Farnsworth Bentley Watkins here. We are at the Riviera 31, another edition of Lift Every Voice. And if you don't know by now, I don't know what rock you've been under. You see it. We've got Tim and Miss Robbie from Welcome to Sweetie Pies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So much to talk about. But before we even get into the show, let's go back. When did you start cooking?
But I started back in the 60s. My mom had 9 kids. I was the oldest, so she actually taught me to cook. But when I used to travel with Ike and Tina Turner, everything was segregated. So I was the cook, so I would prepare meals in the hotel room. And everybody would say, ooh, that's good. So when I stopped singing, I'm like, well, I got a second talent. I'm gonna pull it up, and that was cooking.
Now, how did you stop singing? Because I think we skipped a little something in there.
Well, I had been Ike. I was one of the original, and I developed a lung problem.
Really?
So I needed surgery or stop singing. So I decided to stop singing. Then I went in the bag, pulled out that cooking skill.
There you go.
And said, hey.
And all of a sudden, you're stricken with this illness. What was that like?
It was devastating because all I've ever done was sing. I never worked a job. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? But when I stopped singing, I was not wealthy, I was not rich, so I knew I had to survive.
Yeah.
So this was my survival skill. I just kind of knew I could cook because everybody said it could. And it tastes good to me. So I believed in it.
And it brings up the scripture. All things really do work for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to their purpose.
That's right. And I love the Lord.
Yeah.
And I believe. I believe.
When did you start selling your food?
Well, actually, when I lived in Los Angeles, when I decided to stop singing, I used to sell sandwiches out of the back of the car. But I would have to...
Wait, hold on. You were selling sandwiches out the back of the car?
Yes, I was.
Ham,
Tuna fish,
sandwiches,
homemade cookies.
pies.
Right. Whatever I could do, because I'm in my survival mode. I gotta survive, you know. I got him to feed.
So did you find a partner to start the first restaurant? Like, how did that piece go from sandwiches that you knew was selling like hotcakes to, okay, this is a real business and we need to get some seed money and get behind it?
Right. Well, when I decided that I was gonna go into the restaurant business, I couldn't get any money. Nobody believed in me. Nobody believed that a soul food restaurant would work. I'm like, well, I'm gonna show them I can do this, and I know I can do it. So I proceeded to look for a spot to open a restaurant, and that's how I started.
Now, I want to interject one thing. At this point, from us selling sandwiches out of the car, to her actually, working the job, I ended up going to prison.
Yeah.
I'm going to prison. So me going to prison, one of her, something that really lit a fire on her to open this restaurant was she knew that once I came up in prison, I wasn't gonna be able to get a job. So she was faced with, she told me, she's like, I want to make sure you're all right when you come home, whatever that might be. So I want you to have something. I'm gonna try to open this restaurant. Now, we had always talked about the restaurant, but we didn't have the money. So I was going to high school, I was working a job, she's working a job. So when I went to prison, she just went on and put her all, and like she said, I pot her, spoon her, and she ended up opening this restaurant.
Being the mother of a black young man that was incarcerated, I've been around, and I know that it's hard for them to when they come home.
Absolutely right.
And during my visits, visiting him, I realized that there's a lot of inmates that families don't support them.
That's right.
Or they've been incarcerated so long that when they come home, they don't have a family. They're either deceased and they are back out there in their system, and then they end up going back. So I wanted to try and make sure, because I didn't know how long I was going to live, and I wanted to make sure that he had something to come home to.
That's so powerful because it shows faith truly without works is dead.
That's right.
And you have to walk worthy of the vocation. It's just, that's so rich right there in that moment. We're gonna stop down right there. You guys don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with this is Sweetie Pie's sans macaroni and cheese for me. Now, how that happened, I just don't know. We're going to talk about that during this break. Don't touch the dial.
Lord, I ask that you bless my son as he needs blessings and prayers for his
As
son.
success was shining down on her family, Miss Robbie found herself in prayer again as her grandson fought for his young life.
I thank God for those cameras being there, because I don't think my son would be here if it wasn't for those cameras.
I couldn't even focus. I put myself on a prayer revival. I was praying every 3 hours.